Welcome to the Friday Power Lunch, a weekly show amplifying the voices of the Virginia grassroots. Each week, we provide engaging conversations about politics, culture, and women making change. Produced by the unstoppable women of Network Nova, our motto is, when we vote, we win. The Friday Power Lunch is recorded before a live Zoom audience. Follow us on social media. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and show us some love and become a sponsor through Patreon. The Friday Power Lunch. Badass women getting things done.
Woohoo! All right, it is going to be a lovely day. It's great seeing you all in the room. We hope you had a fantastic break. I know it was really great to have some time off. You know, we talked about before we took the break just how much we endured during this past year, how grassroots activism can really gnaw at your inner core, wear you down. And the negativity and the crankiness out there really was getting into our head and you know, kind of interfering with our vibe to do our work. So our gift to you today is we put together an awesome show, Dare to Self-Care. And we hope that it will make you happy, bring in that positivity, because it is always about, you know, just that power of being together, the power of women, the power of relationships, the power of our words, our stories, our deeds, our goods, and putting it all together. And so we can have today a lovely day together. So we also talk about self-care, from eating to yoga to breathing, but today it's going to be more focused on, you know, how you can express yourself with your words, how your stories can impact others, and how that change can really have a change upon the world and your work. So, we also want to make sure that we don't leave out just the fun of having fun, you know, just to remind ourselves that, yes, we do some serious shit, right? We do some serious work. Some of it is really hard and very stressful when you see like the way the democracy is going and you get really in that space. But it's okay to sit on the couch or call a friend, go out for a walk, or sit on the couch and read a nice little sexy romance novel. So we will talk about how it's also good to take a break and do something different, something you love, no matter what it is. And then also talking about how we look, you're feeling good, and how we look doing it. And we're going to talk a little bit about fashion. And it's more about just really the inner and outer beauty of you and doing our work. And we really feel like taking somewhat of a break to really talk about this is also very powerful. So we're so glad you're in the room today, because it's going to be a lovely day and an empowering day. So it's time to get to the show. We're so glad it is already Friday, December 2nd. Talk about stress. We know we're now into the holiday season, but it is Friday, December 2nd, and welcome to the Friday Power Lunch. I'm Catherine White, your host, bringing you the guests, the issues, the action, amplifying the voice of the grassroots to get things done, and you know us, to make politics fun. So let's get to the show. The theme today is, as we said, Dare to Self-Care. For self-care, self-awareness, self-indulgence for the grassroots activists. That's you. And I'm so excited to bring our guests up today. We're going to start right out of the box with KANIKKI JAKARTA, poet, author, facilitator, all the way over from Alexandria. Hello, how are you doing today, KANIKKI?
Hello, everybody. First, let me say before I forget, I had a really good time doing this. And thank you for inviting me.
Hey, and tell us who you have there.
This is my baby. This is my daughter. She's 7 months old. We call her Sam, and she should be asleep, but she's not. So
they never, that's not how it goes. Should be
asleep.
Should be sleep, should be eating.
She's yawning. See, she's yawning.
Yes. Well, hopefully we won't put her to sleep, but maybe she'll enjoy. We like Robin said, we're diversifying our audience, our demographics. So 7th-month-old, we've had it all in the room. So thank you, KANIKKI. Yes. It's going to be so much fun talking to you today, and I'm very excited you're here. So next up, I would love to introduce Laura Di Franco, CEO of Brave Healer Productions. She's a writer, poet, publisher, and queen of being brave, and just a general badass. So I'm so excited you're here to talk about, to help others share their story and change the world. So how are you feeling today?
I am feeling great. I'm so super grateful and honored to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And I saw you have a black belt. Now, do you have that on now, or?
We don't wear it outside of the dojang, but I am a 3rd degree black belt in Taekwondo. Yes.
I love it. That will give anybody if you talk about being brave, that really does help, I think, a little bit. So,
it's pretty awesome to be able to say that. It's fun.
Yeah, and what I love is that you're with your girlfriends here today, that you all know each other and all are poets. So we're so glad, Laura, that you're here today, and we can't wait to hear all about your work. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
And next up, ASHA Watson, poet and self-branding coach, motivational speaker, and the queen of affirmation, or should I say the ambassador of affirmation, ASHA Watson. So glad to have you today. Let's spotlight her. Here she is, ASHA.
ASHA, Steer, please make her a co-host, because she came back in.
We can't silence ASHA. We're going to make, I like that t-shirt too. I got to figure out what you got it when you can talk. Okay, good. You're up now. You can unmute. Hello, ASHA. Welcome.
Hello. Yes. And it's so funny that the silencing thing has been a theme in my life. I was the girl that talks too much on all my report cards. And now I'm paid to speak as a poet and an author and motivational speaker. So that one quirk about us that we have as children is definitely something that can turn into something amazing if we allow it. So I embrace the talkative, and I'm always trying to be silent. So I'm not surprised.
I love it. I love that it's on your report card. That's so funny. Talks too much, precocious. Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you ever got kicked out of school, but that's, it happens. So anyways, I'm teasing. All right, ASHA, I'm so glad for you to be here. And I'm so excited to introduce our next guest, author, talk about self-indulgence, and really just a wonderful writer and author, Tracy Livesay. Tracy, we're so glad you're here. The Queen of Romance. I've given you that name today. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah, when we're talking about our words and love, I mean, I know we'll get to your segment later, but just how important is that when you're talking about indulging in that,
It's really important. I hope you guys stick around, because I do believe that romance and the romance genre is one of the most important in fiction for our lives. And I'm going to tell you why.
Good. Oh, good. That will keep us, I know Robin is going to be doing your segment, and she's so excited. She's been reading the book, and I think you have her hooked. So that's awesome. So great. And lastly, you want to, it's all sometimes about looking good and feeling good inside and out. And as activists, I'll say, Yolanda, sometimes we throw our t-shirt on, put our jeans on, and out the door, but you're going to up our game a little bit and talk about it. You are the queen of inspiration and style, an image consultant, founder of At the Style Table. And we're excited to have you here. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
We were talking in the back room how we just loved your peepers, and just that simple thing. I'm like, I could change my game just putting on some new peepers.
I tell you, the cute glasses will take and cover up a whole lot of
whole lot of things.
Right. I'm not a makeup artist, but the glasses definitely give me that pop to cover up my lack of makeup skills. So
I love that you concentrate on 50+ fashion. I think, as we walk into the store, I sometimes walk through Macy's and I'm like, what the hell is that over there in the corner? When I see some of the fashion, I'm like, no, that it's so, just when you go to a different age group, you're trying to find that look and still look hip. So I'm so glad you're here to sort of guide us, but there's more to it, because you and I met in this work when we tried to start Sisters United, and we're looking for girlfriends. So I'm so glad to find you again, and we have so much to talk about. So thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Great. So, oh my gosh, I hope you're excited. And I know, just feel like we are really going to come out in December after Thanksgiving with just a great show, because December is always so stressful. So let's like take some time to breathe together and have some fun. And before we get the show started, we'll talk about the rules of the road. What we always say that in the community, we like to keep it real and authentic, but we also like to keep it, as kind as possible. So use the chat to communicate. Tell us where you are. If you're reading any good romance novel, share that, or that's kind of fun. And then I also want to say that our favorite part is the after chat. After we get done around 1 o'clock, we all pop over there. So we hope you'll stick around. Some of our guests will be able to stick around, so that will be a lot of fun. And lastly, it's all about empowering women, empowering people doing the work. So we hope you become a patron of the show. And thank you to those in the show. I'm going to take a sip. Out of my lovely Power Lunch cup, just for the price of a cup of coffee or a romance novel, you can support our show. So we hope you will become a patron. If you do, you'll get this lovely mug today. You'll be shipped to you. So why not, as we said. All right. I want to say before we get the show started, I want to recognize and honor. Some angel got their wings over there. I want to recognize and honor the passing of. Hold on, I got to turn my phone up. Isn't that nasty? Hold on. Recognize and honor the passing of Congressman McEachin, Don McEachin, a friend to many maybe in this room, but a great champion of justice, climate justice specifically in Virginia. And we know that, we want to just make sure that we say thank you for his just years of service, and to offer our condolences to his family. And I know that they're going to have a special election for his replacement, but it's hard to replace a gentleman like that just really served with dignity, integrity, and really set the bar for how you're really supposed to champion things that matter in people's life and do good. So thank you. And we just want to honor him today. And also want to remind people in the room, Louisa Borowski's not here today, our grassroots news person, so I'll be doing that job. And Fennell Norton she is at school and taking the break today to do her work, so she won't be with us today. We'll miss her. But we also have special elections coming up for January 10th in Virginia. Postcards for Virginia, we'll be having those postcards up on their website for those special elections for Holly Siebold and HD 35, and also Aaron Ross for the Senate seat that Jen Kiggins vacated. They're also in Senate District 7. So if you want to write postcards, Robin put that link in there. People can link up and pull their postcards down and start writing. And also do not forget for the ongoing work in Georgia to get the Senator Warnock reelected. I know many of you are doing that work now, texting, phone banking, writing postcards, and some people have actually traveled down there to knock doors. And I have really a good feeling that we are going to win. Optimism. All right, lastly, our crew has put together a little holiday gift idea. If anybody wants to look at that, we have these wonderful gifts for your badass friends, because we want to set the stage for optimism from last year to this year. We're all in to win. You can get these wonderful wine tumblers. You can order at the Badass Boutique. It's delivered right to you, and all of that price for $30 includes shipping. And I'm sure Stair will drop some other fun stickers in there, and maybe a special little note if you want one sent. Thank you, Stair, for putting that together. What a great idea. I love it. All right. So if we're ready, Let's get to it. Let's start right out with there she is, KANIKKI, and that baby is, this baby's sleeping.
Trying to do it.
So let's talk a little bit about you. Your resume, we put out there, your bio, but I just want to say a few things so people know. You're Alexandria's first Black poet laureate and Northern Virginia's Fine Arts Association inaugural poet in residence. And there's a lot more here that we put in for people to read about you. Let's talk about, about your background. How you turned the self-care into a personal art, but even let's start a little bit behind that. How did you get involved, or how did the spirit move you to get into poetry? Tell us a little bit about your background. Where are you from? And you're in Virginia, and then let's talk a little bit about you.
Alabama birthed me. Virginia raised me. I moved to Virginia when I was 21. My mom gave me poetry in the womb. She read a lot of Nikki Giovanni poetry, wanted to name me Nikki Giovanni, thought about doing that, but then decided to name me KANIKKI instead. So I am actually named after a poet. Later years, I found out that KANIKKI is Hawaiian for great writer. So I'm definitely leading up to my name. When I was about 9, I went to a church performance where this lady did a rendition about the beginning of the world. And we were all sitting in the dark, and she was saying, you know, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and it was dark, and then there was light, and the light came on, and she was like, and it was good. And she spoke so eloquently. And I said to myself, whatever it is that she's doing that made me feel like that, that's what I want to do. But I didn't have the words to articulate that. So later on in my 20s, I saw the movie Love Jones and saw Darius Love Hall, who was played by Lorenz Tate, on stage with djembe drum doing spoken word, which I didn't know that. And I said, people do that? Where do they do that? Right. I moved to the DMV area in 2000 and found out about Bar None. So I started on U Street and started to perform my poetry. But even before that, I was performing poetry as a child, you know what I mean? Like reading poetry in contests. I went to a all white school where my brother and I and 2 other Black people were the only Black people in the school. So we had poetry for a contest. So poetry has been in my life from day one. And then some kind of way it ended up being it was a passion, a hobby, a job, and a calling.
No doubt. I mean, especially when you're marked with the naming, I think that is something that you lived up to. But so let's get into the poetry side of it. We're talking about in here when we really want to talk about the self-care or what that means and how that works for you. How do words move you, and how do you want to talk about it in this group, in this audience, to kind of impart just the power that it brings to yourself, to, you know, and then also to the outer world that you're obviously impacting?
Well, if you think about, have you ever had a conversation with someone and they were having a bad day? And then if they said, I'll use something simple. If they say, you know, if you say, I have a headache, you know, I have a headache. And I said, you know, it's really a migraine. And I said, I had migraines. I know what that's like. So I started talking about the migraine, and we started talking about how bad it hurt. When we get off the phone, then we're both in a sad space about the headache, right? Instead of that, I can say, well, you know, I use peppermint oil for my headaches. I remember that, you know, I meditate, that helps with my headache, right? So then this puts you in a bad space because, you know, negativity is so thick, right? Mm-hmm. When you come into a room, you can feel it, even if nobody is saying anything. You can feel that something is happening in here. So you have to think about what words can you speak. I tell my goddaughter all the time, she said, I'm having a bad day. And I said, so you want to give yourself some affirmations, right? So you want to speak something over yourself. So you start speaking it. She doesn't have any, I'll give her some, right? So you start speaking. Words have power. If you believe in God, God spoke the world into existence. Think about that, right? Mm-hmm. So what can you speak in your world? What can you manifest in your world just by speaking it into existence? Because it starts with a thought, then whatever you put on in your mouth, in your mind, whatever you speak out, that's what manifests for you, right? Yeah. So, and I do it in poetry form sometimes too, to uplift people, sometimes just for me, sometimes for other people, and to relate to other people as well. Because I say nothing you write is fiction. Nothing you write is yours. Because you write something and then you say, that's my story too. I've been through that too. So then that's how you know that you're not alone.
Yeah. And that is so impactful. And, you know, I don't know if you want to, you know, how we want to shape today. I know we have our other poets here and friends we want to bring up eventually, but I want to talk a little bit more too. You have a poem to share, and each one of you will be doing a poem, which I'm excited about. Do you want to tell your story first about how those power of the words, you know, got you through some times in your life, if you want to share that, or do you want to do your poem first? How do you want to roll?
I will share it first. Mm-hmm. So I have found out I have 2 heart conditions. This is the mini version, right? The mini version. If you call me, child, I'll tell you the rest. Okay. So this is a mini version. So I thought I had asthma. It ended up being a heart condition. It took many months for them to figure out why I couldn't breathe. And being a person who is a speaker for a living, you need your breath to speak. So I had booked all of these performances. It was this time of year. As a matter of fact, well, it was like November time. And I got hit on 66. Somebody hit me and I started going to physical therapy. And then when I started to try to do the exercises, I couldn't breathe. So then they thought it was the asthma. Then I went to the heart doctor. The doctor said, maybe it's an affection of the heart, but we're gonna x-ray your heart. We're gonna do an echocardiogram. We're gonna figure out. So I tell the story about how he comes in with 9 other doctors, and they're all looking at me like, and you're dead. Really, everybody's so sad looking at my face, looking at their faces. And then he says, your heart is operating at 22%. And I said, what is it supposed to be? And he said, 100%.
Right.
I said, oh, so fix it. And he said, well, we can't fix it. I'm so sorry because you're so young. And he was saying that he didn't think I was grasping the magnitude of what he was saying. And I said, yes, I am, because it had been many months. No one knew what was wrong. I was just glad somebody figured out what was wrong. So he said, well, you need to get a defibrillator for your heart. And I said, I don't want to do that. Let's explore others. I said, I think you can fix it, is what I said. I think you can fix it. He said he can. I said, I think you can fix it. I believe in you because I can't die. Because if I die, too many people would be devastated. I'll be fine, but too many people would be devastated. These are my exact words to him. So fast forward, I went to some specialists. I didn't like them. I came back to him, and I went to have my echocardiogram. The tech said, what did you do? And I said, what do you mean? She said, did you have therapy on your heart? I said, I prayed. And I asked other people to pray. She said, oh, because the tech is not supposed to tell you anything, but she's looking at the improvement of my heart. So the doctor brought me in. I'm skipping a lot. I said, call me and I'll tell you, I'm skipping a lot in between. So he brought some doctors in and he said, I said, oh, this is me. Oh, Lord, now what? He said, nothing. I just wanted these other doctors to meet you because you're the most positive patient that I ever had. And I said, that is because I believe your diagnosis. I didn't believe your prognosis. So you may say I need a defibrillator. You may say it's not going to get fixed. I got up every morning and said, I am healed. I laid hands upon myself. I asked other people to pray and basically willed my voice back to life. And, of course, I had medication and things that he did, but they said medicine wouldn't fix it. But I don't think medicine fixed it. I think the prayer and the affirmations and me speaking over myself.
Affirmations, like you said, the positive thinking and the baby you're holding. It's when we were talking, one thing you said to me, they told you would never have kids.
Well, they said because of my heart. At the time, I was trying to conceive, and they said, stop trying to conceive. Let's find out what's going on with your heart first, right? If your heart is operating at 22% now, if a pregnancy is very hard on your heart.
Oh, yeah, forget it. Yeah.
So they said, let's wait and see. Let's get you on the right medication. Let's try to figure that out. And I said, okay. But I was like, I'm definitely going to be a mom. So this is my testament for by holding my baby here. Maybe that's why she is here. I have wanted to be a mother for 30 years. And I spoke that over myself. So I had to go through all of that journey. Right? Yes. Everything to get to be a mother. So it has been a long journey. So I'll say to the people who are praying for things, waiting for things, and they're waiting for, I'll use the example, how you're driving down the highway and you get stopped and it says people working, men working, but then you get out of traffic, you never see who was working, you never see the construction. I believe that's like life. Right? So God is putting those blocks there to slow you down so that when you get to your path is straight and clear. Right? So you may not see the work that's being done, but there is work being done on your behalf. Right? So sometimes it takes longer for you to get those things. Just wait is my message. Just wait. Don't stop believing. Wait and keep believing. Because I believe if you believe in something that belongs to you, you won't keep having that desire if you won't get it.
Yeah. So your poetry really is one way, I mean, a real part of your life, because it is about the positive and the affirmations, and that helps you. And I know we talked about this because sometimes I've shared my story where, you know, you can really try to be positive and put that kind of prayers into it, or talk, you know, the whatever you want to call the way when we think about how we talk to ourselves and how we kind of you know, guide ourselves into thinking that sometimes the outcome is not what you necessarily get. And we talk about how we have to still stay in that space of, you know, just figuring out how we get the strength to go through certain things in life, you know, to not to be so angry, not to turn to anger, not to turn to things that sort of kind of can really wear you down in some ways. So please, we would love to hear your words and your poem, and then we can bring up Laura and we can just get all the gals together and do some poetry.
Yes. Okay. So this poem I'm going to read, it is called Walking. It's out of my book, Alabama Girl, Virginia Woman. It's available on my website. It's red and blue, perfect for the holidays. You know. Okay, so here we go, walking. When a toddler stands for the first time, an audience assembles, a cheering section emerges. Hope urges a first step. Hands reach towards her in case she needs help. We all know that she can do it. So we wait and we anticipate the steps she will take, the ones that will give her the cognizance and confidence to walk in her walk. And when she falls, she's met with applause, hands extended for assistance to help her stand again, encouraging her to begin again, because life is a walk and we're all willing to talk her through it with a little bit of encouragement. But when an adult stands for the first time, an audience of naysayers assembles, awaiting a downfall, an assembly of onlookers, no hands extended, only fingers pointed in the wrong direction, no compassion, no affection, but life is a walk. And some people are afraid to get lost in the steps of the past. See, sometimes we have to make our own paths, nothing leading the way but determination and hope, walking a tightrope of the unexpected, swallowing rejections like a horse pill, but you can't stand still, not if you want to live, not if you're willing to make life for a living, not if you're willing to take a chance on yourself. See, sometimes you have to encourage yourself. Sometimes there'll be no one there to help you but you. Sometimes you have to be your own cheerleader, your own leader, your own boss, whatever it costs. Sometimes you have to go broke to be enriched, to be whole, to mold yourself into yourself. And with God's help, anything, no, everything is possible. Thank you.
Yeah, love it. It's true. You know, I love it. So powerful. Well, I think we would love to bring up, I think it'd be good to bring up Laura and maybe Asha together so we can have you all on the screen, all your friends here. And KANIKKI, maybe you want to let you take it here from introducing Laura, if you want, or.
Well, let me say the first reason that I wanted Laura to be on the show, right, is because Laura is a badass. She has it in her bio. You have it in your subtitle. I was like, let's bring all the badass women together, right? So how did I meet Laura? I met her in a poetry venue somewhere. I don't really remember when or where. I don't really remember. But anyway, we just clicked. Right? We liked each other from the beginning. She brought me in to do some shows for her. I brought her in to do some shows for me. We co-authored a book together. We co-hosted a show together. She is a Amazon multi-time best-selling, black belt wearing, taekwondo, badass mama, poet, and friend. So give it up for Laura DiFranco. But that's what I know.
Thank you for that awesome introduction. You're amazing, KANIKKI. You guys, daring to self-care for me, it meant choosing who I hang out with and spend my sacred time with very purposefully, and choosing people who help me stay accountable to the vision I have for my life. That's what that meant to me when I saw this and I knew what you guys were doing with this show. This is called From Victim to Empress. I'm here for you if you need to talk. Thank you, I do. And please, don't allow me to get stuck in my story or any past regret. Don't allow me to worry about the future or any unknown moment that has yet to transpire, tending to spin up my mind, setting my default to anxious rumination. Don't let me speak out loud of anything I don't want or any way I don't want to feel, or all the horrible, no good, awful things that could happen if. If I utter what if, just shut me down right there. Spare us both from hours of despair, from that cyclical, ingrained habit of imagining the worst. It's truly a curse, this conditioned thing we do. When we talk it out to the point the hurt is so raw again, it regurgitates in ways we didn't even realize were possible. You're not doing me a favor if you allow me to wallow, dwell, or be paralyzed by the trance my story creates, a dance so seductive that no one can look away. If you want to be here, really here for me, when the going is tough, sit by my side in silence. It's enough. Do nothing when I cry, not one gasp, sound, or sigh, just solid presence. Find your center, drop down. Don't pat my back or hand me a Kleenex or stop the sacred moment I finally let myself have. Deal with the discomfort I'm triggering in you, the squeeze around your heart, forcing you to think you have to speak anything out loud. And then when I talk again, pay close attention. Listen to every word and every word unsaid. Do not give me a chance to fall back into my sick habit of dread. Pause me gently, abruptly, mildly rudely if you must, and direct me back to trusting something bigger is in charge. Get me back into my body again. Pull out the thoughts, words, and beliefs that reek of what's possible. Please be the reason I flip my switch and wake the heck up. Gently breathe with me, but don't allow me to place the bolt on the train rail that creates the next wreck. Remind me of something better, something more effective, like the gratitude holding my soul in both hands, the inspiration that helps me stand tall in the middle of my worthiness. Help me adorn my now with the sparkly golden gem of love. Sprinkle that dust before my eyes with a, wait, pause, goddess. You were born to thrive. You got this. How can we get clear on your deepest desires and bring the essence of that goodness into our lives right this moment? Say something that makes me stop every old, unhelpful thing I've learned and create a miracle. I'm here for you if you need to talk. Thank you, I do. I need to remember and speak the magical, miracle, awe-filled, soul-driven, much bigger than me words of who I am and feel my power again. Will you help me do that? Will you help me move from victim to empress, my friend? Mm-hmm. And that is the poem.
Man, yes, I love it.
Thank you, guys. I've been writing poetry since I was 15. I started speaking it out loud in 2014. I was a little older than then. And I love it. And I love these women that you have me on the show with today. They are part of the inspiration of me actually getting brave enough to stand on a stage and do it.
No, and I love it, KANIKKI, like that you talked about, Laura, being that when we talked about the need to have courage and to be brave. And
Right.
And you go in looking at your space when you talk about why that's important to actually have the courage to tell your story. And, I was with a friend last night, we were sharing stories, and that's so powerful because she's like, I'm so glad you said that because it resonated with her because she had something similar. And then all of a sudden it gave us both the courage to think about this we realized that we're not alone. This happens to other people. Or it reminds me of Governor Whitmer when she was at the podium and just dropped everything and told her story about her abortion when she was a young teenager, because she was like, I got to be brave enough. She had no plan to tell it. But you talk about how that bravery, especially in the kind of work we do, can just heal yourself and also impact others. Is that correct? Do I have that sort of correct, Laura?
Yes. I mean, so I always say I write to feng shui my soul first, my own soul.
I like that.
And it's just icing if someone else is helped by it. But what I realized at a point a few years back is, people were reading and listening and watching. And I was lucky enough to have a reach out from a total stranger who said, hey, this article you wrote was amazing. And I wonder if you had some more for me to read. And I was like, whoa, somebody other than my mom is reading my stuff. That's so cool. Like someone else besides my BFF and my mom. But what I didn't realize until much later when this woman and I became friends is that she had actually been planning the suicide note she'd write to her husband and 5 children at the time. And holy crap, so I'm lucky I get to tell you guys that story because not very many people will reach out for that help that they need, but they're out there, they're listening. It's really important that we share our brave words. It's not really about me anymore. That fear of not good enough is boring to me at this point after I had that experience, because when I share, I can change a life. I can save a life possibly. And that fuels me and everything I do at this point.
No, that's super powerful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And I think rolling right into ASHA Watson, KANIKKI, how did you meet ASHA? Do you want to, or Laura, does somebody want to set ASHA up for us?
How do we meet? I don't know. Poetry gave me some really cool people.
Yeah, I think it's busboys for all 3 of us, to be honest. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So to remind people, again, author, motivational speaker, community activist, and the affirmation queen is how you were described to us. So ASHA, just welcome. Thank you. And tell us about that dare to self-care on either your poem or just what you're feeling.
Well, thank you so much for having me. And I love being in the company of these amazing women. Yes, artistry is powerful because it creates community. So any type of creativity, anytime you have an opportunity to connect with like-minded people, it's always powerful. So I am grateful. I'm enjoying everything that's happening so far. So I'll tell my story this way because this kind of sums up how and why I've been dubbed the Queen of Affirmation. So I'm going to tell you my life story in snippet, right? When I was 16 years old, I tried to take my life. When I was, I did a suicide attempt. And so I was battling depression. In 2018 was the worst year of my life. My mother died, then I lost my job, and then I lost, I thought I had, found love. I lost the worst, had a horrible breakup. 2020, I got diagnosed with breast cancer. And during the middle of a pandemic, while my father was battling cancer, and then he passed in 2021, right? So I can tell the story that way, or I can say this. At 16 years old, I battled depression, but I found myself. I had the biggest failure that I'm grateful for. I tried to take my life and I'm failed, and I'm excited. I'm grateful for that. That pushed me into my calling to mentor and motivate young women. And now I run a nonprofit organization that has helped hundreds of young women actually learn to find their voice and grow up in confidence. And we also teach them writing. In 2018, my mother got her wings. She battled breast cancer, but she made the decision that we were ready for her to go, and that she was ready to go see her Lord and Savior. And so she entrusted us to live the rest of our lives, and now she's watching over me. She's no longer in pain. And then what else did I say? Oh, and then I was released from a job that was holding me back, right? I was stuck in a cubicle that didn't push me into my purpose the way that I would have on my own. It wasn't voluntary, but I needed that push. And then I was released from a relationship that was not for me. He was not the person for me. And it released me to find who is, right? And then I was gifted with the wisdom and the fortitude to walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Like, I love that Proverbs 23, because it talks about the valley of the shadow of death. So whenever we're facing diagnoses or we're facing things, a lot of the times it looks like we're facing the thing, but it says the shadow. A shadow is not real. So when I was diagnosed with breast cancer, it was a situation that I was dealing with. It was a situation, it was something that God trusted me with enough, because he knows that once I went through it, I'm reaching back and I'm pulling anybody else. I'm going to help people avoid it. I'm going to help people that are in the middle of it, because he knew he could trust me with that. And so now I've come through that wellness journey even better than I was before I went in. And the pandemic, I say panoramic, I don't say pandemic, because it gave us all the ability to take a 360-degree view of everything in our lives. It really helped us put things in perspective. So instead of us looking at what was negative, pandemic sounds scary, right? But it was really a perspective shift. And then, so in the middle of the panoramic, and I'm going through my breast cancer, my wellness journey is what my doctor and I, that was the way that we said it, because I wasn't going to breast cancer. It wasn't a breast cancer journey. Breast cancer wasn't the destination. Wellness was journey. So as I was on my wellness journey, and my father, he said, I'm going to see my wife on what would have been their 50th wedding anniversary. He met her in glory. And so now they are, watching over me, and they're exactly where they where they started, and they're where we know they're good. I don't have to worry about them. And so I say all of that to say both stories are true, right? I can tell that story either way, and both are 100% true. But perspective is everything. How you choose to articulate what you're experiencing makes all the difference. And there's a difference, there's these phrases, toxic positivity and all that kind of stuff. There is an ability of being delusional about something that's happening, but you can absolutely make a decision that no matter what comes my way, nothing takes God by surprise, right? I'm not surprised. I'm prepared. I am enough. I have everything I need to get through whatever it is I'm brought to. So I know that about myself. Those are things that I say to myself daily. I talk to myself more than I talk to anybody. Like I said, I get talked to too much on my report cards, but the person that I talk to the most is ASHA. And I'm careful what I say to her, because I care about her. And so, I charge everyone, if you all can do the same thing, guard your words, guard them, because they're seeds. Everything you say, you're planting. If someone says, "Oh, you're beautiful," thank you. Oh man, I wish I was, this. I wish I was that. We're really, really quick to nullify certain things, but every seed is going to produce something. So whatever you're watering is going to grow. Are you planting positivity in yourself? So that's what Dare to Self-Care means to me. It means Your perspective. It means looking at what's happening and saying, how can I reframe this in a way where I'm the victor?
Yes,
So
I
that's
love that. And I think that is something we could all take away. And Asha, do you, thank you for that, because that is so true. What we say to ourselves and what KANIKKI had said, that affirmation and saying that positiveness. And I like that you say not to be delusional in this as well, right? There is that where you're just like, okay, like my one niece, she told me how she was going to win the lottery, and for sure she was going to do. It was so delusional. It just was like, it was like a little crazy talking away, but I that just positive planting, and there's some words here that we really need to just let sit. And I love it. Do you want to, yeah, go ahead.
And encourage her, especially if she's young. And so I have the same year that all those 3 tragedies happened, I published 3 books the same year, because I wanted the year, I was very intentional that I wanted that year to not be overshadowed by negativity.
Yes.
So although those things happened, I ended the year with 3 books. I produced something that brings me joy. So when I think of 2018, I have all of those feelings.
You have all the
But
positive.
I took back my power through that. And so, and 2 of my books are children's books of affirmations. And so when a child is saying, I'm going to win the lottery, say, you know what? You're going to do more than win the lottery.
Right.
You're going to win the lottery with your education. You're going to create something where you're going to be a billionaire yourself. So I love that you're speaking like that.
Yeah, no, thank you, Asha. And before we need to end up the segment, I want to say that in the chat, and hopefully you guys will be able to stick around for the after chat. You want to put your links. You guys have books, you have workshops, you have series that people could take advantage of. All 3 of you are just awesome at how you use the power of words to move people in so many ways. And like Laura said, the self, starting there first, is really super important. Please put that in the chat. I know we put it. If you want to share anything else with people, please put it in the chat. But Asha, I want to give you the opportunity, if you have a poem to end the segment, where then we're going to go to the our next segment, which is Tracy Livesay, the author.
Awesome. Yes, thank you. And I'm going to do this piece because I think it goes along with what I said. I was going to do something different, but I'm actually shifting because I feel
all right.
So this is called Audacity. Today, I would like to find the audacity to just sit and cry, to rest easy, to sleep fully, to dream in textures. I can always tell when I dream because I wake up in puddles of my tears. Nights when I'm able to be vulnerable in my sleep, but wake up and feel my own subconscious. When sleeping, I lead with my femininity, and my strength never needs to precede the fact that I am human. I am able to use 4-letter words like fear, soft, need, and help, but only when I'm not awake, because I'm always the giver of safety and rarely the recipient. Who knew that the weight of a crown could be so heavy? Nothing in the kingdom is not your responsibility when you are the queen. At times, I'd rather be more princess, be more daughter than mother, more follower than leader, more sensitive than strong, to rest my cape for a moment and catch my breath, because Superman makes this look easy. But it's hard to save the world single-handedly. I'd like to have the courage to embrace my femininity fully, to leave the small pieces of cracked eggshell that end up in the potato salad out, because when you've had a Humpty Dumpty kind of fall, stuff gets broken, and broken leaves scars, and scars don't always heal smoothly. I want to just be me, but I can't, because this crown is a blessing. The weight of leadership is heavy and necessary, and someone has to do the work. In order to be a leader, you must be worth following, because Aunt Harriet had more than a shotgun. Uncle Martin had more than a dream. Brother Malcolm was more than a mouthpiece, and Miss Franklin did more than sing. See, they saw trees in seeds, future in protesting, and they had the decision to lead, to follow, to use their platforms for change. So on days when the calling feels unbearable, we must not give up the fight. For whatever darkness God has called you to walk through, In us, he sees the light. Be encouraged. And if no one has told you they love you, that you're beautiful, that you're important, that you're special, today I'm saying it. I love you. You're important. You matter. Your life matters. All those things. Thank you for having me. Thank you for this space.
Thank you, Asha. That's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. KANIKKI, Laura, Asha, we love you. Thank you for just giving us this such great positive vibes. We really, really, really needed it. So thank you so much. And stick in the room. I'm going to hand this over to Robin Warner to bring up our next segment. We're very excited to get a little indulgence. I think everybody will enjoy it. Thank you, Robin. Hello. Are you enjoying yourself?
I am so enjoying myself. I can't believe some of the comments we're getting. I'm getting private comments in the messaging saying, "What a great show! This is just what I needed today with all the craziness going on."
Right. Let me spotlight. I'm gonna get out and thank you so much. Go right ahead.
Oh,
Oh, don't know what happened.
Let me add Tracy. Oops.
Yeah, add Tracy. Yep.
All right. Here we go. Hello, Tracy. So nice to have you here. Well, we've been talking about how writing, poetry, and words are good for the soul. And now we're going to go in a little different direction and talk about how reading a good book, a great book, is a gift you give yourself. I'm so excited to have you. Let me tell just a little bit about you for those who don't know. Tracy writes contemporary interracial romances where smart, strong, driven women find love with powerful, passionate men. In addition to winning the 2021 Emma Award for Best Interracial Romance, USA Today calls you one of the 100 Black novelists you should read. And your latest book that we'll be talking about today, American Royalty, was just featured in the Washington Post as one of the 10 best romances of 2022. You're a graduate of University of Virginia and University of Virginia Law School, live in Stafford. Hey, we're all badass women of Virginia here. You are a former criminal defense attorney, but you have never regretted changing careers to follow your heart instead of your law degree. So we are so happy to have you on to talk about romance novels. Now, I have to say that when I said we're going to have you on the show, some people said, romance novels, isn't that Fabio, hard abs, running on the beach? And I said, you obviously haven't read a romance lately. So Tracy, can you fill us in on why romance novels are so amazing and popular?
Yes, I can. First, thank you so much for having me here. I enjoyed that previous segment so much. It was amazing. And so I am thrilled and honored to sort of share this space with those amazing women. I'm glad that you spoke up and told that person that no, it's not about Fabio and hard abs, although the abs are nice, but that is not what we read romance novels for. We read it for the happy ending. We read it for the positive feelings. We read it for a woman's journey, which is not something that we always see in fiction. We read it for hope. We read it for love. We read it for empathy. It's an amazing genre. And what I often tell people is whatever you're interested in, whatever sort of genre you like to read, there is a subgenre for you in romance. Whatever your POV is, your perspective, there is something for you in romance. And I tend to find that when people give romance a chance, they become lifelong fans.
Well, you're a former lawyer and a friend of the show, Stacey Abrams, also writes romance novels. What is it about that attracts such smart women to read and write them?
It's really funny. There's a joke in romance. There are a lot of attorneys who write romance novels. I am good friends with 4 personally, but in addition to attorneys, there's doctors and scientists and businesswomen. I mean, it runs the gamut. And I think sort of the thing that we all gravitate to is is the power of the story. The thing that some people who aren't familiar with romance tend to criticize it with is saying, oh, well, we know how they're going to end, right? Because the thing about romance novels, what you're guaranteed is that there's a happily ever after. And so a lot of people say, well, since we know how it's going to end, then what's the point? And I'm like, well, we live life, right? We know how that's going to end. It's about the journey. And that's the same thing with romance novels. And what I like to posit is, because you know how it's going to end, we can take you on such amazing journeys. We can take you on the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, because you know we're going to deliver you safe and soundly at the end. And so when you know that, you're not afraid to go with me as I take you to places and perspectives and thoughts that you may never have had yourself, because that's not your experience, or something you may have feared to think about because you worried about how it was going to end. Well, I can take you there, or my genre can take you there, because you know when you close that book, you're going to be euphoric, you're going to be happy, you're going to have hope, because that's what our genre does. And I think that is what attracts a lot of us, because we get to explore so many themes and put our life perspectives and thoughts and politics into these stories, and deliver you happily at the other end.
Oh, I love that. You know, we talked about girlfriends in the previous section, and one thing I love about your books is that you celebrate the power of girlfriends in your book, in addition to the romance. Talk about the role of good friends in your romance stories.
Well, I think that there's this misconception that romances are just about the couple or the people that are involved in the sexual relationship, the romantic relationship. But one of the things we do is understand that we are not islands, that we have friends and family, and they all help, maybe sometimes hinder those relationships. And so including that, I think, in our stories is really important. For some people, family is chosen family. It's the friends that you make. It's not always about blood. And again, if we want to tell these stories, these relationships, and we want to ground them in our lives, I think the people that surround that life really sort of make it healthy and more realistic, because for most of us, there are going to be other people walking the journey with us, right, that are going to be living our lives with us. And so not including them in this really important relationship would be a little foolish.
So I want to talk a little bit about your latest book, American Royalty. It's a rom-com, female rapper with a prince. So tell us a little bit about your book and what the inspiration was.
Sure. So people say that it is Harry and Meghan, and I guess if you look at sort of the superficial part of it, it is. That's true. I had some readers call it Harry and Meghan if Meghan was Megan Thee Stallion, and I think that's perfect. That's probably more like what it is. But I wanted to sort of discuss this idea of a Black princess, the British royal family, and sort of, you know, what's going on, and also the role that the media and I guess social media can play in sort of some of these high profile romances. It was a lot of fun to write. I was sort of going along one path, and then sort of the Oprah interview happened, and I was like, okay, so no one can read this book and say this is not realistic, because they are telling you that I might have even like pulled a punch or two in what I was writing. But yeah, that's what I wanted to do. And I found that the story was so much bigger than I anticipated, that I ended up writing a sequel to it. Usually I don't write sequels. I'll do a series, and then the second book might be a different couple. But I found that Jameson and Duchess's story was so big, and there was so much I hadn't even gotten into, that I wrote the sequel to it, which will be coming out in July of 2023. So
I can't wait. I read the book in a day. It was a page turner. And I want to talk about being a page turner. On this show, we talk a lot about messaging. We're badass women. We work on politics, and it's all about the messaging, getting the message out. And here we've got someone who writes a book that can keep you in your seat for hours. How do you go about getting a point across so clearly and concisely? I mean, in a romance novel, you got to grab your reader in that first page, that first paragraph. Any words of wisdom you can share with us, since we can't add the sex to it?
Yes, the sex helps, but that's usually a few chapters in. I think the way I do it is by being specific and being honest. What I have found as not only a writer, but as a reader, that the more specific you are, the more people can relate, right? Like, you think, I'm going to write a story about a Black rapper, and who is going to be able to relate to that? Well, Duchess is more than just being, a Black rapper. She's a woman. She grew up being raised by her grandmother, and then once her grandmother passed, sort of being shifted from family member to family member who may not have wanted her, but took her in because she was family. And that inspired in her a drive to be the captain of her destiny, to control her life. And so while as a reader you may not relate to being a Black rapper, but you may understand not always having control over the decisions in your life, of having other people make decisions for you when you'd rather do them yourself, and how that might drive you to do what was necessary so that you controlled your life. And so again, being very specific in a character's perspective and choices, I think, is what keeps people turning the page. It's how you put out your message. And I think that is how people learn empathy, right? Because again, that might be a person that you feel you don't have anything in common with, but when you step inside her shoes and you see her background and understand how her thinking and why she makes the choices she makes, that helps you to empathize with her. And what I hope is that then you take that outside of the book, and when you come across people who you initially think you don't have anything in common with, you may realize that they have a backstory, and you might understand that backstory. And again, from empathy, we start to care about other people and how the choices and decisions we make can affect other people and not just ourselves. So
since you mentioned Duchess, the protagonist from the book American Royalty, I'm going to ask you to. We often talk about various issues, and in Virginia, we've suffered several mass murders to gun violence. Schools, nightclubs, recently the Walmart in Chesapeake. As a writer, how might Duchess, the main character of American Royalty, a smart, strong, driven, successful woman, address this issue?
Would she
good.
Or?
Yeah, how she would do it. She's a, because we're always figuring out how do we message it? How would your character, how might you have your character have a conversation about gun violence?
Again, I think, well, it would be two ways, right? So Duchess herself might write a rap to sort of get the idea out there, and because of who she is, that might turn into a fundraiser where the proceeds of buying or downloading that song could be given to organizations that fight gun violence and issues of mental health and things of that sort. And I think Danny Duchess is Danny's stage name. And so I think Danny herself would talk about what is behind the violence, like not only the people that are being harmed, but sort of who's shooting and why and what is it that they're doing. I think that's the conversation that she would have, and she would use her platform to have that conversation. I mean, that's the thing about celebrity in America. And again, one of the reasons I wrote the book is that they have a platform that they can use to get the message out there. And I think that she would definitely use her platform to do that.
Mm-hmm. Well, Tracy, thank you so much for talking to us today. So if you're looking for a great read, American Royalty, and encourage you to read other books of Tracy's. You have that whole series, the Girlfriend series. I think that's great, where you talk about, you know, your girlfriends that you get together with every year for vacation. What a fun, that's another fun series in it. So Catherine.
What? I was so enjoying that. I'm going to get that book. I definitely am. And I have a book club actually. And I think this would be a really fun book to read. And I hope that we would get you to come to our book club or Zoom in. That's awesome. So thank you, Robin. What an excellent segment. Now we've talked about all the ins, and now we're going to talk a little bit of the outs, as we say, the outer sense of ourselves and how, and Yolanda Taylor, stylist, you're a consultant for politicians, different kind of clients. And it's so important. You talk about that positive aspect of it. So what I want to start out with is about you. You are retired now.
Yes.
Being a flight attendant. A flight attendant. How many years were you an international?
31 years.
Flight attendant.
Yeah. So, and I've been styling women for forever. My first client was a client who was going for office. And it was such a great experience. So when I retired, it was just a natural thing for me to transition into this business.
Yeah, and just to say that you have now a TV show, Yo at the Style Table. You do a blog, you do all kind of wonderful things, and you have a book out too that we could talk about later. But let's just get into it for you when we talk about why do you feel this is important? I mean, why is this so important for women, especially we're talking, post 50, to feel part about that outer side of us? Why is that so important, and why are you so impassioned about it?
Well, At the Style Table was born after 50 because I, like most women, your body betrays you. 40, that perimenopause, and if you have that with PMS, and it's just like a witch's brew. When you're young, you're like, you have this flat stomach at 20, and your 30s, you're like got a 2-pack and a pooch because you just had a baby. After 40, you just have the pooch. And after 50, you're just like, never mind, give me the wine and cheese. You have to get out of the size. We get all caught up in size, and we get caught up in our weight. And there's things that we just have to get into as far as size acceptance, to get ourselves out of the size psychosis, because it's so stressful for us. That's why I'm a wardrobe strategist, because after 50 and after 40, it's almost a strategy to get dressed, because you wake up, you don't know how your body's feeling, what your size or weight's going to be from that day, because our weight goes up 5 to 20 pounds on average. Mm-hmm. So it can be stressful, frustrating, demoralizing, and that's why I talk about just acceptance, size acceptance, because we also have to understand that it was men who created the sizing, the American sizing. Mm. They created it. The initial creation of that sizing platform was in 1939. About 15,000 women they measured. These women were not well fed. They were, they were paid to do this. So it was, it was a hard time. So they were going on sizes that were much smaller. in the 50s, 1958, the Department of Commerce took it over. And a size 8 was like you were, it was a 23 waist and a 31 bust as a size 8.
Whoa.
And then, yeah. And then in 1995, as our sizes, Americans started becoming larger, then they said, well, they're going to give us vanity sizing. And I say vanity sizing, it's just, you know, it's not vanity, it's just who we are. And I always say to women, you can look good right now. Stop beating yourself up. The numbers have gone up and down. Each designer has several different, a size 6 in this size in the department store. They design for the department stores, the outlets, and the runway. So don't get yourself all in a tizzy because this size 6 and this designer doesn't fit. You go to the outlet and it fits differently. So don't get yourself all in a tizzy and beating yourself up. Know that you look good. You can look good now. Buy the larger size. Don't stress yourself out. And you look good right now. Right. You can look good right now. Don't beat yourself up and stop and let those clothes go. Those
I love
other,
it. Because there's self-confidence and self-acceptance. And I just find your words really, I don't know, what's the word, comforting. And all of a sudden I'm like, yeah, because sometimes we're always waiting like for something to change so we can start to feel a little better. Maybe like you said, like, well, when I maybe lose a few pounds, or maybe when I do go on vacation. But what I love about what you've done, first meeting you, really a positive person, just kind, positive, wonderful person to meet. And then that you've gone into this work, I find it, you know, just really exciting what you're doing, because we sometimes leave that out in our work. We don't really talk about clothes and fashion so much, but we do like to wear swag. We do like to wear special kind of stuff in our work that kind of makes us stand out, either buttons, different shirts, different kind of, this year we had even fun pants that we offered in different colors for our work. So we do love to have fun. But the idea that how you got into it about that positivity and the self-acceptance, and then where you move from there. So talk about that.
Well, once, you know, well, as far as the self-acceptance,
right.
I just really push women to understand that yes, you can lose weight and you can get down to whatever size, your dream size, because we only wear 20% that's in our closet. Let's be clear. The average American is only wearing 20% what's in their closet. The other 80% is just chilling. And by the way, that's money in those closets. So sell those clothes and get them out of there. Get that money, get the money.
Right.
So, and also, wouldn't it be nice to have all the clothes in your closet that fit? Just go up a size. And that's all a part of the acceptance. You walk into the fitting room, you try on something and it fits too tight. If you got to put on a Spanx and all that, just go get the larger size. Give yourself a break. Nobody is looking in the back of your dress or your pants or your skirt to go, oh, that's a size such and such, unless they want to die. Nobody, they're just going to look at you and
right.
go, oh, she looks so put together. That's all that matters, that you look good and you feel good in your clothes. Nobody's judging you on the number of the size. Let it go. Let the number go.
Yeah. And letting the number go. And then, so from there, when you're really, why is this important for women? You're talking about really then feeling good about
yourself.
Then you can sort of go, like, you help people run for office, you help people that are CEOs, you help the everyday person. And that really, what does that do? Once you solve that, what do you find? Is there a transformation that could happen?
I see the cloak of happiness. Mm-hmm. Because you walk into the room feeling empowered, powerful. I call it the cloak of happiness. So when you walk in feeling like you look good and feeling good and you feel happy and positive, that energy transfers to other people, because in the first 27 seconds, people are judging you on how you look. Mm-hmm. First 27 seconds. If you're walking in the room pulling this and tugging on this and looking unsure because your clothes are ill-fitted, if you just bought the size that's larger where it fits and you feel good and you're comfortable. I call it PCC, polish, comfortable equals confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
that's the important thing. That's when you walk in the room and you feel great about yourself. And that energy, people want to like, who is that? I want to talk to her. She looks good. She looks so put together.
mm-hmm.
You know, that's what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's important.
So I love it. So people can find your show. Is it up and available? You are on
Yeah, I do My Style Mondays on my, I stream that on my Facebook at the Style Table LLC that's my Facebook. And then it also streams live on YouTube, where I talk to women about their businesses or organizations, their hobbies, and we talk about their style, and it's all positive. We talk about how their gifts and they share what they have to help other women. So that's what I love about it.
I love it. I love it. And also about the book, when we contacted you so many months back, you were having a book that's coming out. I know it's been delayed. Just give the audience an idea about the book, and so we'll know maybe when it's coming out, if we can get it, and what it's about.
It's called Inspiring Professional Women Who Boss Up. And it's a part of the Women Who Boss Up series. And so it's coming out I was told like around the holidays. So in the next few weeks. So it's a collaborative book. So, you know, sometimes when you do collaborations, it's like,
takes a while. But these are all women that are bossing up, and you have been chosen as a boss up.
Yes, a woman who bossed up. And the series they're great. There's several books, and I'm excited to be participating in this particular book. And I'm just loving my life after 50 and enjoying working with women and inspiring women, and women are inspiring me. All the ladies who just spoke, I'm just on fire for you, and I would love to interview you.
Yeah, don't you think?
Share your poetry and and everybody loves romance novels, and I just, all of that. I'm so excited, and I would love to speak to all of these fabulous.
I love it. We will make sure that you're connected. One thing nice about the show, that's definitely about the power of sisterhood and how we bring each other together. It's been great having you in the room with us. We've been excited to get you here. You're finally here with us. What a perfect show to be on with these other powerful, wonderful women. And I also want to say, you wanted to have a special thing, an offer in the room. If anybody wanted your help, a 30-minute free consultation with you. If you want to put that information in the chat, you'll have some time. But why don't you say what it is you'd like to do your gift to everybody today?
I would like to give everybody who's watching a free 30-minute style assessment. We can talk about where you see your style, or if you have any questions about what you should keep and what you should throw away. And we'll talk about everything from body shapers, whatever you want to talk about to help you update your style.
Love it. All right, styling, yo, as your friends call you. It's been so great seeing you. Have a great rest of your day and holiday, and so great to have you here.
Thank
it's
you.
As we're time to wrap up, I have to say, what a great way coming back from Thanksgiving. All of our pants probably a little tighter, so we just get a bigger size or some good stretch pants. That's always always a good idea too. But I want to say thank you. I mean, can we get a round of applause for everybody in the room today? Can we just say and send the love? And you will get this all in a recap that will be really important. So you don't have to stress too much. I want to say thank you to our romance novelist, Tracy Livesey, poet, self-branding coach, ASHA Watson, and also poet, author, facilitator, KANIKKI JAKARTA. Oh my gosh, what a great name, KANIKKI. And also writer, poet, and badass publisher, Laura Di Franco. What you really inspired us with your poem as well today. And lastly, Yolanda Yo Taylor. Thank you, stylist, image consultant, for being with us today. I know we're all feeling pretty good and ready to get back to work, writing postcards and also calling and texting for Georgia. So it's that time to wrap up. I want to say, if you haven't had a chance to support the show, go ahead and be a patron. If you want to order some badass, we have some good books today from these authors you can order for the holidays, and also our special gift of glasses that in the Badass Boutique that Stare was talking about. I want to say a special thank you to Robin Warner, Show Wizard, Stare Calhoun, Ambassador of Buzz, Fennell Norton, who's not here today. Hopefully she's done good on her schoolwork also. Heidi Dragneff, keeping it together, social media diva up there. Thank you, Heidi. Dennis Orsinger, always making us great graphics. Zoom crew, Laura Martinez, our newcomer chat liaison, Michelle McKinney, and our content concierges, Julie Galdo, Alvina McCall, and Sally Renholt. We see you in the room today. You really make us look good on paper. Thank you, gals, for always helping us. And let's just go to the after chat. Let's just hit our credits, Robin.